Good afternoon, Mr. Sarkissian.
Good afternoon.
You told us you're 40 years of age now. Is that right?
Correct.
And how long have you been locked up?
Almost 10 years now.
And you were arrested on July 15th, 2005. Is that right?
July 19th, 2005.
July of 2005, we can agree?
Yes.
And at that point in 2005, how long had you been kind of going straight?
I would say 3.5 years.
And that was the time period, let's say, after or around 2002 that you start to kind of straighten your life out?
Perhaps a little earlier than that, yeah.
2001, maybe?
Yeah.
And early in your life you've been straight, right?
Yes.
You went to school, right?
Right?
You got advanced degrees?
Yes.
You took stockbroker licensing tests, is that right?
Yes.
So at that point, and how old were you at that point?
When I passed the Series 7?
Okay.
My guess is around 22, maybe.
All right. And
Nope,
best recollection?
maybe 24, 25.
All right. And you had completed college at that point?
Yes.
And had your parents been supporting you?
Yes, they had.
And you were looking forward to a career in the financial area, is that right?
Right.
And had you committed any crimes up to that point?
Yes.
What crimes had you committed?
I had sold cocaine in upstate New York. I had been convicted of possession of a firearm.
All right. And the firearm, did that take place when you were collecting rents in a bad neighborhood for your family?
No, it didn't. It happened. I was on my way there. I was actually still in Queens.
All right. And why were you carrying a firearm at that time?
Oh, because I was headed out there to Washington Heights.
Okay.
I was going to collect rents and then come back home.
That was part of your job working for your dad's management company?
Yes.
And you thought it was a bad neighborhood, maybe you should have a weapon with you?
Yes.
How is it that you got arrested?
I was pulled over. They said that, I had been speeding a little bit, but I wasn't issued a speeding ticket. I was pulled out of the car and frisked. When I asked, why did you pull me over? They said you were speeding, but I was just arrested for the gun.
And where was the gun?
In my jacket pocket.
What kind of gun was it?
It was a small caliber. I believe it was a maybe .25 caliber.
All right. And you didn't have a license for it, is that right?
No.
And did you plead guilty?
Yes, I did.
And did you receive a sentence?
I did.
What was that?
I received probation.
And did you successfully complete probation?
Yes, I did.
And is it at this point that you're also going to start your stockbroker career?
No, I was still in school back then, so I was going back and forth from school on vacations. And when I would come back, I would help my dad out with the real estate business, and that's when it happened.
Where were you in school?
I was in Glens Falls High School and Adirondack Community College. So in that frame of time when I was attending those two schools upstate, I used to come back and forth, and I was charged during that time.
With the gun charge?
Yeah.
But you got probation, and that resolved it, is that right?
Yes.
And then I think you told us that you started your stockbroker career. Is that right?
Yes. After school.
You graduated from college?
Correct.
And you passed the stockbroker exam, is that right?
Yes.
And you became a licensed stockbroker, is that right?
Yes.
And you worked for a brokerage firm, right?
Correct.
So this was all legitimate employment, right?
Correct.
There came a time when it sounded like your firm was kind of pressuring you to sell certain stocks. Is that right?
Yes.
And that ultimately wound up where people lost money. Is that right?
Yes.
But did you keep your license?
Yes,
I mean, did you suffer any consequences for the failure of these people to get their money back?
of course.
What was that?
They wouldn't invest with me anymore, and that's my bread and butter. I couldn't even speak to them after that, because they wouldn't want to speak to me.
Because they blamed you because they had lost money on the investments?
Absolutely.
Were you fired from the job?
No, I wasn't.
Could you have kept working in that field?
Absolutely.
And was it at this time that you began to kind of hang out in Brooklyn more?
Yes.
Now where were you living when you were hanging out in Brooklyn?
In Corona, Queens.
With your family?
No, I had an apartment on Northern Boulevard in Corona, Queens.
That was an apartment that you said your dad was paying for?
Well, it's one of the properties that he owns, and I had an apartment in that property.
And your dad had a pretty successful real estate business. Is that true?
Yes,
Owned a fair number of properties in the New York area?
a fair number.
And you worked for him for a period of time. Is that right?
Yes,
But was that not something you wanted to do as your career?
I did and I didn't, because I wanted to kind of do something on my own. Not look like, my parents were supporting me. I hadn't accomplished anything on my own, and that's why, when the stockbroker thing fell through, it didn't happen. I felt like a failure. I'm sure, my dad would have still, accepted me for that and embraced me, but I ended up falling into the wrong crowd, and I felt like I could maybe find success, with the other world. But it didn't work out that way either.
Well, when you say you fell into the wrong crowd, would it be equally true that you joined a particular crowd, right?
Yes, of course.
I mean, you weren't from Brooklyn, right?
No,
You didn't grow up in Lafayette Gardens, right?
no,
You had a pretty middle-class upbringing, is that right?
yes,
And at some point, you chose to associate yourselves with individuals who were committing crimes around Lafayette Gardens, right?
yes,
And you were living in Queens at the time, is that right?
right,
And you come from Queens to Brooklyn, the area of Lafayette Gardens, to associate with certain individuals. Is that right?
right.
And did they have a name, this group?
No, back then they didn't. Not to my knowledge. I never heard of CMB before. I just knew, like World and his boys.
Well, you said CMB. Do you know what that stands for?
Now I do. After the indictment, I understood it for Cash Money Brothers, but I hadn't heard of that name beforehand.
And you were the indictment that you speak about. When did that take place?
In 2005, when I was arrested. Well, that was my first knowledge of the indictment. When I got arrested.
All right. So, is it fair to say, you tell me if I'm right or wrong, the whole time you're hanging out at Lafayette Gardens and doing all these criminal activities, you never heard of Cash Money Brothers?
Not that name, no.
Any name?
No,
So this was just a group of guys that you hung out with around Lafayette Gardens, is that right?
yes,
And Cash Money Brothers, that never even got mentioned to you, right?
nope,
All right, let me just take you up to... You get arrested July of 2005, and at that point for about 3 years you've been going straight, right?
yes,
That's the time period when you and your dad owned a bodega, right?
correct.
And you wanted to become a real police officer, right?
Well, yeah. That came very quickly. That was my first attempt at, going clean after I was hanging out with these guys.
And before you were trying to become a real police officer, you spent a period of time pretending to be a police officer, right?
Right.
And would it be fair to say that you were pretty good at pretending to be an undercover cop?
Yeah. I did it 3 or 4 times and it went okay.
Well, you successfully convinced on some occasions a patron of a club, right?
Yeah.
That someone coming out of a club who might have money, who might have jewelry, that was a target for you and the people you were working with at the time, right?
Yes.
I think he testified to all of that.
I'm sorry, Judge?
I'm sorry, I think he testified to all of that.
Yes, he did, Judge. I guess the point I'm trying to make is when you were doing this impersonation, that was a lie, right?
A lot?
A lie.
A lie. Oh.
Lie, L-I-E.
Yes. Impersonation is not, the genuine thing. Yeah.
And you were adept at it, right?
Adept? I mean, I did it 3 or 4 times, I guess, when you pull someone over. They're in shock. So it's not a very difficult thing to do. You have the lights going and the thing in their eyes, and you approach with a badge out. And the first thing anyone thinks is, it's a real cop, not a fake one. It's not a hard impersonation, really.
But you planned it out?
Yeah, it was planned out. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing.
Well, you got the light, right?
Right.
You got the badge, right?
Yeah.
You got the handcuffs, right?
Right.
So this is something you gave some thought and planning to. Is that right?
Right.
When you were robbing people coming out of clubs? Is that right?
It is right.
And then you also were able to convince prostitutes that you were an undercover cop, right?
Right.
And these were typically prostitutes that you told us who were used to getting arrested because of the nature of their business, right?
Yes.
And you were able to convince them on several occasions that you were an undercover cop, right?
Right.
How many times did you do that?
2 or 3 times.
And the whole purpose was that you wanted to have sex with them, right?
Right.
And for the thrill of it, not for the money, right?
Right. We never robbed them or anything. We didn't take any money from them. It was just for the sex.
Well, they gave you sex because they thought you were undercover cops, right?
Yes.
And you were in their company for maybe an hour or 2 hours?
Yeah. An hour. Maybe a half hour.
And the whole time you were successful in convincing them that you were undercover cops, right?
That's right.
And they were, as you said, experienced individuals who had dealt with undercover cops, right?
I'm not sure how experienced the ones that we pulled over were with dealing with undercover cops, but, in general, they probably dealt with police before.
All right. So you decide to turn your life around. You get involved with your dad in some businesses, right?
Right.
You opened up a restaurant, right?
Right.
You opened up a bodega, right?
Right.
A tanning salon?
Yes.
You become a licensed insurance broker, right?
Right.
But whole time you still have your guns, right?
Yes, I did.
Because when you're arrested July of 2005, some 2.5 to 3 years after you're going straight, the FBI finds guns in your home, right?
Well, yeah, I led them to them. Yeah. They didn't have a search warrant, but they said, listen, we're going to do we're just going to ask you. And I was like, listen, I have these guns over there. They're not, there are no bullets or anything. They are just the guns, and the clips are separate, and you can tell them while you're at it.
Well, you say there were no bullets? Is that the way you remember it?
Yeah, I don't believe they were loaded. I wouldn't have kept them loaded.
Well, was there a firearm tucked underneath several items of clothing?
Yeah, there were. I think they were in my, if I remember correctly, in my wardrobe. It may have been clothes on top of them or not. I don't remember exactly what was on top of them, if anything was on top of them. They were in a box.
Let me ask you ...
They were not, like, out in the open.
They were hidden, right?
Yeah,
And they were hidden there for 3 years, right?
no, actually, they hadn't been sitting there for 3 years. I had recently brought them there,
You recently bought 2 guns?
brought them over, transferred them from another location.
Where had they been?
My brother had them somewhere. You know, with the basement where I said I used to live, I had them over there. But my brother had been acting out at that time with my parents. And he's not really a dangerous guy, but I didn't want to keep guns around there. You know, because I don't know. He liked to drink a little bit too. So I had recently moved to Manhattan at that time. I was arrested in Manhattan on 46th Street. It's another property that my father owns. And I felt the safest place for those guns was with me, and I was going to put them in a safety deposit box at Chase Manhattan Bank without the ammunition just to keep them for a while. And I had actually taken out the safety deposit boxes and, you know, paid for them. A week or 2 before my arrest, I was about to just keep them over there and store them because I didn't want any trouble, like my brother getting his hands on them or anybody else.
So you were storing 2 guns in your apartment so that your brother wouldn't use them for something improper, right?
Yeah,
Is that the way it was?
yeah,
You didn't need them for your insurance business, right?
no,
Or the tanning salon? You didn't need guns?
no,
And do you recollect that you had a handgun loaded with 8.45 caliber rounds of ammunition and 1 round in the chamber? Do you remember that?
I don't know. I took the guns, like I said, from Forest Hills to my place, and I was about to put them into the safety deposit box without ammunition, because I know they have a law against ammunition being stored in the safety deposit boxes, so I don't remember if it was fully loaded, if you say that. I don't believe.
You don't remember, is that right?
No,
Judge, I'd like to show the witness only a document. Maybe I'll call is Defendant Granton one, I think.
All right. Has counsel seen it? Show it to counsel.
Sure.
Yes, Your Honor, we've seen it.
All right. So this is for purposes of refreshing his recollection?
I'll put it on the Elmo.
Well, the jury is not seeing it. It's not in evidence.
Right?
What's your question now?
Can he see it?
Yes. Do you see it?
yeah. Okay, I do see it.
The question is whether this jogs your recollection.
Oh, can you put it back?
Let's hear the question again.
Okay, here is the question. Mr. Sarkissian, I am showing you what we marked DG1 for our purposes here. And my question is, does that refresh your recollection as to when the FBI came in and seized guns from you, that one of them was loaded with 8.45 caliber rounds and 1 round in the chamber, yes or no?
I still don't remember it. But these guns belong to me. So I had them stored, like I said, in the basement for a while. And when that thing happened with my brother, he was acting out a lot. I transferred them with the idea of,
The question is whether or not it jogs your recollection that one of the guns that was taken was loaded.
No, it doesn't.
You don't recall?
No,
You don't recall?
no,
So you get arrested in July of 2005 with these two guns and you go to jail, right?
yes,
And you've been in jail ever since. Is that right?
yes. 10 years now almost.
Now, you've pled guilty to 2 offenses. Is that right?
Right,
You pled guilty to what they call a RICO murder, right?
right.
And who got murdered on that count?
Daryl Baum.
And your sentence on that, if you don't get a letter, you have to do life, right?
Right,
In other words, is it your understanding? Tell me if I'm right or wrong. The minimum is life, the maximum is life, the sentence is life, right?
yes,
So unless you get that letter from the government lawyers, you're going to be in jail for the rest of your life, right?
right,
And you understand in the federal system, when someone gets a life sentence, you never get out, right?
yeah,
You die in jail, right?
yeah.
And you're how old now? You're 40?
40,
So if you live, without the letter you live to 70, 80, 90, you're in jail the whole time, right?
right.
And the other charge, was that the carjacking charge?
Yes,
And you pled guilty to that as well, right?
right,
And when you pled guilty to that, the judge told you that had a 0 bottom line. In other words, you could get no time for that, right?
right,
Up to life, right?
right,
So at this point, you're facing potentially 2 life sentences. Is that right?
correct.
And the carjacking charge, did that have to do with the guy you shot who eventually died?
Yes,
Someone named Prince Ozua. Do you know that name?
yes,
Who was he? Do you know?
I don't. What do you mean? Do I know him?
Did you know him beforehand?
No,
But you shot him, right?
yes.
Do you know where you shot him?
It seemed to me like in the head.
And you've pled guilty to that as well. Is that right?
Yes,
And your only hope, tell me if I'm right or wrong, your only hope of getting out of jail is if the government writes a letter to the judge and knocks out the minimum, right?
right.
And that's, in a nutshell, why you're cooperating. Is that fair to say?
Part of it, yeah.
Now, in jail, you had some infractions in jail, is that right?
Yes,
Some disciplinary infractions, is that right?
right.
And have you been prescribed some psychiatric medication?
Yes, I have.
You still taking that?
Yes.
Venlafaxine, is that what it's called?
I know that it's trazodone. Maybe that's the generic name. I don't know.
And how many do you take?
150 milligrams.
Morning or night or both?
Night.
And what's the reason you are taking that?
Anxiety. Depression.
And is it a psychiatric medication?
I don't know what it falls under. I guess it's a psychiatric. The doctor prescribed it to me. She said it would help me.
And what symptoms were you experiencing in order to get the doctor to give you this medicine?
Anxiety and depression.
In jail?
Correct.
And you're anxious and depressed because you might go to jail for the rest of your life, right?
Just the normal day-to-day, jail life alone does that to me, but that place is a big part of it too. Yes.
And also, it would be because you had a legitimate career which you just kind of tossed aside and decided to become a gangster.
Of course. Yeah. Regret. Everything, yeah.
That Mercedes CLK Silver 430 convertible, 2000 Mercedes, that was your car?
Yes.
And did you pay for that car?
No.
Where did you get that car?
My grandparents bought it for me.
So your grandparents were helping to support you as well?
Yes.
And your parents were supporting you, right?
Yes.
And they gave you a place to live?
Of course.
So you didn't have to go to a particular neighborhood and sell drugs and carry a gun, did you?
No.
But you did it because you wanted the excitement?
Yeah. Excitement, success on my own somehow. To watch, the shows and stuff, you get caught up.
What shows did you watch that got you caught up?
Like movies and of such. You watch these thrill-seeking movies and, it was just craziness. So I followed into it and it led to a dead end.
And that Mercedes, can you describe for the jury how it was configured, what it looked like?
It was a 2-door convertible.
And the back seat was pretty small, I image, is that right?
Fairly. You could still fit 2 people in there.
And in order to get into the back seat, would someone have to move up the front? Let's say you wanted to get into the back passenger side, right?
You would have to move the front seat.
And if the person was sitting on the front seat, ordinarily, they would have to get out to push the seat forward?
No, it wasn't that small. No.
So you could push the seat, you could maneuver the seat so it went forward and it let someone into the back?
Yes.
Kind of behind the seat where the back seat was?
Yeah, they could ease their way in. As long as, they're not, 300 pounds.
And this was, as you said, a pretty distinctive car. Is that right?
For that neighborhood, yes.
Well, almost for any neighborhood, wouldn't it be?
Well, not any. But, yeah, I see what you're saying.
What was that car? New. What would it cost?
About $70,000.
And your grandparents just gave you that car, is that right?
Yeah.
And you would drive the car around the neighborhood of Lafayette Gardens, is that right?
Well, I didn't really hang out at Lafayette Gardens much. I mean, sometimes we would pass by there, but most of the time we would go to other places.
And that's when you were hanging out with the guys at Lafayette Gardens, is that right?
Yes.
And when did you first meet eBay?
I met him in front of Lafayette Gardens.
And how did you come to meet him?
Just some guys were hanging out there, and Taz and me pulled up. And I met him, and I had met another few guys there that were part of the group there. They were out that day.
And did someone say this is eBay? This is a friend of ours? Something like that?
Yes.
Do you know where eBay lived?
No.
Did you ever see eBay driving a car?
No.
Did you know his phone number?
No.
Do you know if he had a phone?
I think I seen him with a cell phone before, but I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
No.
Did you see him sell drugs?
No.
At some point you told us you made an investment with Taz, right?
Yes.
You gave Taz $30,000 cash?
Yes.
And where did you get that money?
My grandparents and parents used to give me money, and I used to save it up.
So you had $30,000 in cash saved up from family members. Is that right?
Right.
Is that right?
Correct.
And you decided to give it to this fella Taz, right?
Yeah.
Did you know his last name?
No, I don't believe so. I may have. I'm not sure.
Think back. Did you know his first name?
Actually, I believe I did know his name back then, because he had gotten shot in his gambling den and he had to appear for court. Or was it when I visited him in the hospital and I uncovered his real name?
So at some point, you knew his real name, right?
Yeah.
And you decide you're going to invest $30,000 with him, right?
Yes.
Did you kind of check him out beforehand as to what his credentials were?
Not much. I mean, there is only so much you can do on the street. This was a street deal. This wasn't like, checking up, a real estate agent online.
So you had done that before you made investments, right?
I hadn't made many investments like that in my life at that point.
Well, when you were stockbroker, did you make investments?
Yeah, on publicly traded companies.
So you would go online and whatever existed at that time, you could research it to where the money was going?
Yeah, you pretty much know the big names at that point, so...